Here it goes. Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of NCompass Live. I am your host, Krista Burns, here at the Nebraska Library Commission. NCompass Live is the Library Commission's weekly online event where we cover any activities or anything, topics that may be of interest to librarians across the state. We bring in guest speakers and we have commission staff, as we have this morning, that do this. We do these sessions every Wednesday morning live at 10 a.m. Central Time, but all of our sessions are recorded as well, so you can watch them later on if you're not available at 10 a.m. Wednesday mornings. This morning we have one of our staff, as I said, Michael Sowers, the Technology Innovation Librarian here at the Nebraska Library Commission, and he's going to formally debut a project that he's been working on for, gosh, how long? So I'll just hand over to Michael and let him go ahead and take over.
No, well, no, it doesn't feel like forever yet. It will feel like forever when, you know, the next 100 libraries say we all want to sign up at the same time. Anyways, Good morning. Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Yes, exactly. As Krista said, I'm Michael Sowers. I seem to be on these a lot lately, but, you know, hey, things are happening. And what I'm here to talk about today is a project that some of you may have heard of, and some of you have been anticipating for a while, if my email and the people who corner me at meetings are any indication, which we're calling Nebraska Libraries on the Web. And the short version of this is free hosted websites for public libraries in Nebraska.
Woo.
Yes. So what I want to spend this time doing is kind of talk a little bit about the history of the project, what's involved in the project, the software it's running on, what we do here to support it, what you need to do if you want to participate, who it's available for, run you a little demo of the software itself. So I got a lot of stuff to cover, and I'll cover it to the best of my ability in the time allowed. By no means should this be considered maybe official training if you want to participate. There's lots of other videos for that. This is kind of the launch and the overview of it to kind of help you decide if you want to participate. So I need to go back probably about 2.5 years at this point. When I was approached to say we here at the Commission want to do something because a lot of libraries in the state have little to no web presence. And these days, you know, the web's been around for 15 plus years now. You kind of have to have something. Okay. And some libraries had, the larger libraries, they have full websites. You know, Lincoln and Omaha, they're covered.
Yes.
And as you start working down in the library size, we have everything from libraries that are, running pretty good websites on their own to libraries that have a page on the town's website, to libraries that had absolutely no web presence whatsoever. And so at that time, about 2.5 years ago, I had kind of finished the Wi-Fi grant project. So this was my next big thing here. We joined up with a multi-state organization. It was called Plinkett, which Public Libraries something or other. I don't even remember what it stands for.
Well, it actually was an acronym.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, it was an acronym. It was multiple states, and we, at the end of about 1.5 years, including some significant training on my part that I attended, after 1.5 years, we had one website up and running, and that was the wonderful folks at Panhandle Library Systems.
Yay.
Yay. And at that point, I kind of sat down and I said, look, oh, and by the way, it wasn't free. So we put some money into it. So I said, I sat down and I said, this isn't working. Okay. So I came up with an alternative plan, which was now what we call Nebraska Libraries on the Web. It runs on completely free software called WordPress. We run it here in-house on our own machines instead of contracting out with somebody else to do it. And I literally had this project up and running in about 6 weeks. From the go-ahead to stop using Plinkett and switch over to WordPress and to go up. I'm not here to say Plinkett was bad. I just want to say it wasn't right for us.
Yes.
Okay, it just wasn't working. Some other things were going on. Budgets were being cut, all sorts of things. So And then over the last 9 or 10 months or so, we have been running basically little mini pilot projects. There are a little over a dozen libraries currently running this, 3 of the regional systems, including Panhandle, and libraries of various sizes. We did training with them. I've helped them out. And we've worked out what we would like to think is the majority of the kinks and bugs and quirks in the system. Not saying we've worked out all of them, but we've worked out most of them. We worked out enough of them to say that as of today, if you are a public library here in the state of Nebraska, you can now participate in this project. Okay? Now, this URL we're looking at right now, which you can get to by just going to libraries.ne.gov, the rest of that stuff, their project blog index, that'll all go in on itself. You can just type in that first bit. We'll take you to the project website. Here is the central location where all participating libraries and anybody who's interested can get information about the project, get updates on what's going on, welcoming of new libraries to the project, training videos, as this one you see here on the screen, Widgets, that's one I just created the other day. Along the top of this page, you will see, about the project, the online training, contacting me, a list of participating libraries. We have a directory of other libraries that have websites in the state, and they want to participate. Now, at the moment, the want to participate does say it's invite only. I'll be fixing that either this afternoon or by the end of the week. People will be doing. I didn't want to update it before I announced it, so
this is
the announcement, right? Exactly. But I will write a blog post live in front of everybody to say it's now open to everyone. And so, if you do want to participate, basically just go over to that contact link and send me an email and say, "Hey, we want to participate." I mean, it really is that simple. What happens after that is I set you up an account and a website in our installation of WordPress. Now, what is WordPress? WordPress is a combination of blogging platform and content management system. Okay? So, yes, your website will also be a blog. So you will need to, what we ask is write some new content once a week. Just really not that difficult once you get the hang of it. Okay? Do you get new materials in the library? There's a blog post. Do you have an event in the library? There's a blog post. To hire some new staff? That would be nice. There's a blog post.
Any of the kind of things that, for example, that you post in your newsletters, the story hour this week is at this time.
Yep.
We've got this author coming in. We've got this juggler coming in for the kids. All those kind of things can be just pushed out onto there.
Yep. So if you want to participate, I set up the website for you. I create an account for you in WordPress, and then you take over from there. Okay. Basically, we look at a couple-week period where you kind of get your site up and running. You populate it with content. You start writing some blog posts. I'll show you some of the different types of content and things we're talking about as we get into the software. And you pick the theme, which is the look and feel of your site. I'll talk about that in a little more detail. And during all that, the training is basically a whole bunch of online videos that we posted to YouTube. There's the Widgets one right there. And you can get to all of them through online training. I'd say about 95% of them have been created. There's still a couple odds and ends ones that I need to record. But the software we use, which is GoToWebinar, can only be this software that you're watching right now can only actually be used by one person at a time. So I find when I can to do that. I work with you. You watch the videos. If you have any questions, you can post them to the group through the project website. You can send me an email. You can call me. Get a hold of me however you'd like. Looks like there might be a question coming in too. Okay, I finished my thought. And then kind of when you're all ready, when you're comfortable with it, when you say our website is ready to go, what I then do is I add you to the participating libraries page. I add a little footer down at the bottom of your website that says basically you're a participant in this project. We kind of ask that you promote the project, participating in the project. And then you have a running website. Right? I mean, it's Work up front. I don't want to say it's a lot of work. It's as much work as you want to put into it. Now, the more work you put into it, the better the website will be. But, you know, you probably measure the amount of work to get yourself up and running beyond watching the videos themselves, which run anywhere from like 6 to 15 or 20 minutes. Some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. I think there's 1 or 2 that are like 4 minutes. It can probably be measured in maybe 10 to 12 hours tops at the outside. It really kind of depends on, are you writing the content from scratch, or is it somewhere else and you can copy and paste? Is there a question?
No.
Oh, okay.
All good.
All good. All right. So
what's great, what I think is great about the videos, I mean, for the pilot libraries, you do in person, come at a certain day. And what's great about the videos is you can teach yourself how to do this on your own time when it's convenient for you.
Yes.
Whenever you have 10 minutes to sit and watch the video on whatever. Sit down, watch that one when you know you've got your break and you can do it, and then you've learned that little bit. Maybe set aside a half an hour or something to practice what the video is about and actually do it.
Right.
Along with watching it. So you can, in bits and pieces on your own, do this. Oh, wow, that's a lot of videos.
Yeah, there are. There are a lot of videos here.
There's lots of videos. So that's what's really cool about it. Do it when you can. It's not, I have to go to this training on this day and figure out how I can get there and who can watch the library. You can do this all yourself now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the point. And we've had a handful of libraries completely work off of the training videos. And so far, nobody's come back to me screaming, going, oh, I can't learn this from the videos, and it's not going to work. They were kind of our last batch. I got most of the videos up, and I said, okay, do these videos work? And I've gotten no negative responses.
They're the guinea pigs.
They were that last set of guinea pigs over the last couple of months. So, and the videos are generally arranged in kind of an order that I would expect coming in from scratch that you would kind of learn. So, you know, important URLs and participant expectations. That's the first one you would watch. And in fact, I encourage everybody to watch that first video. Even if you've watched this video, this one's a little more specific and a lot shorter. Watch the important URLs and participant expectations before you sign up. It'll just kind of give you a little more specific detail about what's expected of you as a participating library. And really, it's not a lot. It's setting it up. It's a blog post a week. That's just about it. I mean, and I'll be honest.
As you get into it, you're going to be doing more than
a week. Yeah.
Things are going to pop into your head. And
I'll also be honest, I don't exactly police that once a week. No. I mean, however, if I notice you haven't posted anything in 3 months, I will probably send you an email because you do want to keep your site up to date.
And it might be that something's wrong. You had a computer problem.
Oh, yeah,
There's all sorts of issues.
Yes.
Reasons why you might be having problems getting stuff.
Okay, so this project site runs the exact same software that your library site would run. Okay. So if I go back to our home page here, the home page of your site is going to be a blog. Okay. So this is this widgets video I posted here on Monday, May 2nd, and it was posted by me. If I scroll on here, here's something I posted on Wednesday, April 13th. By me. Pretty much I'm the only person who posts this one. Okay. Here on March 29, we welcome the Shelby Community Library. Here on March 18th, we welcome Morrow Public Library. Both of these were libraries that put their sites together based solely on the training videos. Nice. So if you want to see, maybe I'll use one of those as an example in a few minutes here. Like any other blog, content will stay on the web page, on the home page. Newest content shows up at the top of the page. This is why we want you to update at least once a week. Old content will eventually fall off into an archive. Okay? All of this is taken care of for you completely automatically. Now, you can customize it, and I'll show you some of the settings, but there's a lot of settings to play with and options. That's the central blog. You can then create what are called pages. Okay, and I have several pages. In this case, they're listed up here, okay, on this particular blog. So I have an about page, and this isn't something you would necessarily update. This is, hey, this is about the library or about the project. I have a page for online training. I have a page for contact, which is a contact form. Contact is a page you'll get as part of your website. Okay. By the way, you also get an online calendar. built in with your website. I just don't have one for the project site, but all the libraries,
there's
there's nothing to schedule right for the project. Yeah, I'll show you one there.
Yeah.
So, you can, so what we generally recommend is, you have the blog, but then you have an About the Library page. You'll have a Nebraska Resources page. You might have a page of policies about the library, your circulation policies, your internet policies, that sort of thing. And then all of this, because it's running on WordPress, your readers have the ability to comment, whether it be on a blog post or on a page. You can customize who's allowed to comment. You can set up approval for comments. So if you want to make sure everybody's kind of, not swearing or whatever, you can do that. I mean, there's all sorts of features in here that all of those training videos get into. I just can't get into too much detail in the time allowed. Okay. Now, this is kind of the front end, and one of the is 92% up to you. Okay. What do I mean by that? Well, real quick, let me go here and do this. Okay. Now, consider every single one of these libraries is running the exact same software. They're all running on WordPress. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up some of these randomly. I am not commenting on their design. I'm just showing you what some libraries have done. For example, if I pull up Alliance here, this is what their site looks like. Okay, and I'll also throw in here, notice that their URL is libraries.ne.gov/alliance. Okay, you'll sense a pattern here in just a minute, I think. Okay, and then if I scroll on down here and I go to Clarkson, now you'll notice that their design is very different. Okay, it's still running WordPress. They still have all the same features, and notice that their URL is libraries.ne.gov/Clarkson. Okay. I can work with you to pick your URL, but generally it's going to be like your town or library name. We've only got so much wiggle room there. Let me pick another one here. I'll pull up, here's the Northeast Library System. Okay. And looks like this. So you'll see there's some general commonalities in that, there's generally a sidebar, the content's over here. There's generally some sort of banner across the top, but not always. I think Moral was one of the ones that used a slightly different, and here's the funny part, my participating libraries list is out of date. So I will go back to the home page and scroll on down to Morals. And you will see they have the banner, but their list of pages is down here instead of up above. Their search box is up above. Some websites, and they also have the kind of area here which sorts of changes and shows the kind of the 4 newest things on a rotating basis. Cool. Okay, that's cool. They're the first library that picked a theme that used something like that. See, I'm not clicking on anything. Those things are changing on their own. Some themes have columns on the left and on the right. Some have special things down on the bottom. Just for fun, to show you what sort of extremes you can maybe go to real quick, I also personally am running WordPress for my own website, and as we can bring this up real quick here, you will see that it looks very different from all the rest of these. It also takes a little longer to load, unfortunately, and there's the 4th. But as you see here, kind of down at the bottom, my pages are down here, and it kind of works almost like a Windows sort of theme. There's, in other words, what I'm talking about here is the theme of your website. And there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 themes to pick from. Okay? But then a lot of those themes are customizable within the theme you've picked. So, for example, some themes allow you to change the picture up at the top. And we've even had a couple of libraries that have gotten local photographers to go out and take photos of town, and then they've customized their theme with a local photo.
Totally personal and relevant. People coming to your website will say, I know that place.
Yes, exactly.
I've seen that.
Some themes will allow you to have a different number of sidebars. Some sites like 2 sidebars, some like them both on the right, some like them 1 on each side, some only want 1 sidebar.
This would probably be the hardest part about doing your website.
Yeah.
Is picking a theme.
Picking a theme and customizing
On my own personal blog that I'm very infrequent to posting to. I've changed the theme twice since I've had it, and yeah, that was the most painful trying. And there's just so many out there, and so many I like, and which one do I like best, and whatnot. So that'll probably be the hardest part of doing this, but maybe the most fun if you like that kind of creative stuff, and figuring out what colors go best, and which kind of picture do we want, and where do we want things to be. And you can always change it whenever you want too. I mean, it's nice to have a theme and say this is yours, this is what represents and is the brand for your library. But in
yes and no. Okay, well, let me have two thoughts here. One, when I did do live training, I always did themes last, because at that point I lost everybody in the class because they were having so much fun trying out different themes.
See,
okay,
yeah.
I mean, it literally it's the way we've got it set up is basically you look through the theme directory, and again, this is all covered in the training videos. You send me an email saying here are like 3 or 4 themes I'm interested in trying. I install them, and then you literally like click a button that says activate, and you're now using that theme. Okay, so it is technically easy to change your theme. However, in the long run, yes, you can change your theme. You don't want to change it too often. No. Okay, for a couple of reasons. Just real quickly, reason number one is if you change it too often, you will confuse your readers.
Yes, they won't realize it's your website anymore.
Last week it looked like this, and next week it'll look like something else. Two, there are some larger issues that when you change your theme, you might have to, it might break some things. You might have to fix some other things that
some of the widgets, for example.
Things in the sidebar, things like that.
They don't all work exactly the same, yes.
Okay, so that's kind of the look and feel issues that we have here. Let me show you where you actually do your work, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch over and I'm going to actually log into WordPress. And again, the URLs for all this are all in the training videos and everything. And so I'm going to go ahead and log in. And by the way, I'll throw in here while I'm logging in that I'm using WordPress to run at least 5 different websites personally. We're running WordPress for this project here, which is statewide. And we are going to start running WordPress when our new website comes up for the Commission's blog. And as of yesterday, we're also using an internal WordPress installation for our staff blog. So just we are completely committed to supporting WordPress here. This is we've been committed to it. We ought to be committed. I don't know. But anyways, this is what it looks like where you do your work. This is called the dashboard of the back end. Okay. So I've logged into my account, and now I will warn you here, I have some additional features that you will not see if you participate and log into your account. I'm what's called a network administrator. I have full access to everything. Okay? You will only have access to your site. Okay? So I have some additional menus and things like that. So the first thing I need to do is I need to actually get to the site that I want to work on. And so to do that, I'm going to go here to the dashboard for Nebraska Libraries on the Web. And now it says I am now working on the Nebraska Libraries on the Web site. Okay? And like with most computer programs, there's 3 ways to do everything. Of course. Okay? So I'm just going to, if you notice, well, you could have done this instead, the answer is yes. But I'm going to, like, in the interest of time, show you, like, one way to do everything. So what I want to do is I want to write a new post on the project site that says, hey, we've opened this up to everybody. If you want to participate, use the contact form up at the top of the page. Okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write a new post. So I'll click on New Post, and basically all I need to do is the following. Write a title, write my content, and click Publish. I mean, it can be that simple. So Nebraska Libraries on the web is now open. I might actually change this all later, but you know, I'm just going to write it up now.
Yeah, you didn't think about what you were going to write.
No, I did not plan this at all. Okay, now this is where you kind of get into tips and tricks. Okay, you should probably think about what you're going to write before you do it. Yeah, okay. Also, this box that I'm now clicked in, complete copy and paste. So if you've written it somewhere else, copy and paste it into here. Don't type it again. Okay. So as of today, any public library in Nebraska can now sign up for a website with Nebraska Libraries on the web. Just fill in the contact form above, linked to above, and let us know you're interested. Yep, and I see a typo in there. Yay, spell check. Okay, and then you have formatting. You can bold, italics, strikeout, bullet points, quotations, alignment. You can insert images. You can insert videos. You can change colors. You can do all sorts of fancy schmancy stuff. I'm just going to type a couple of lines. Okay. Then what we do is we usually have categories that I've set up in advance. Again, it's a training video on categories. And I'm going to say this is news. Okay. And then literally all I need to do is click publish. And give it a sec. And it should say post published. And so I go back to the website. I click refresh. And there is my newest post. We're now open for business. Yay. I mean, it's literally that simple. In fact, WordPress is so flexible, you can do it via email. I have applications on my phone and on my tablet. I could have written this on my phone and published it. Well, okay, depends on how good your keyboard is. Assuming you have a smartphone. I just literally, that's as easy as it is. Once your website's set up and you want to write a new post, you log in, you click new post, you write it, you publish it. That's it. You can change it later if you want, fix typos, things like that. You can set it up so that, you know what, I have an announcement next Tuesday at 9 a.m. I want to go out. I can write my post and say, please don't publish this until next Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Schedule when it will
you
actually
can schedule
go live.
when it's going to show up. Had I been smart, I would have scheduled one for right now. Yeah. Planning ahead, always a good thing.
Do as he says,
not as I do, exactly. Thank you. You can save drafts. So you can start writing something, say, you know what, I'm out of time, I need to go do something else, I'm not done, I can save it, I can come back to it later. Okay? And in fact, what I do here is if I just click on the posts menu over on the left, this will show me a list of all of my posts where I can get back to them, I can edit them, I can delete them if I need to. Notice I do have a couple of drafts saved. I don't even remember what those are. I'll have to go look. I've published 125. I can search my posts. I can just really, it's very easy, point and click. And let me stress here, you do not need to know any code to do any of this.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Okay. HTML, CSS, XHTML, you don't have to know that. However, knowing that will only help, but it is not required. I want to stress that. Very few people that have signed up for this project actually know any code. Okay, but now I know code, so I can do lots more things. Okay, worst case, let's say you want to embed a YouTube video, you might have to copy and paste some code, but you don't actually have to understand the code.
No,
but it doesn't hurt. I like to stress to people that you should learn a little code.
It's nice when you know a
but
little bit, as I do, because you can then look and say, oh, that's why it's doing that.
Right, yeah.
I did a right justify instead of left by accident or something, or it did something weird. But yeah, that's what's great. You don't have to know any of this stuff to actually jump in.
Don't have to.
Even with the embedding thing that Michael said about YouTube, other sites like YouTube, they have a button you click on that says embed, and then it just gives you the code and says copy and paste this chunk of stuff wherever you want this video to be. And you just copy and paste it, and they'd also do it for you as well. Yeah. Here's the code you need, paste it in, boom, it appears.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about something else. In the meantime, I'm going to put Krista on the spot here.
Oh, great.
If I could have Krista go to the libraries, Nebraska Libraries on the web website and leave a comment on that blog post that I just wrote, libraries.ne.gov. And then we'll come back, we'll talk about comments. Okay. Pages. I mentioned pages earlier. Notice all of the kind of menus and stuff look very similar, the whole interface. Earlier I mentioned, and I'll go back to the website, I have pages here for about and online training and contact and participating libraries. Well, if I look in the back end here and I go to pages, here's my page for about and online training and contact and participating libraries. And now I can edit these. So if I just go ahead and click edit for participating libraries, this is going to come up with pretty much the exact same interface you just saw for posts. Here is the page's title. Here's the page's content. Here is where I would go in and add Moral Public Library a little later today. In fact, I could probably do that right now. And notice no code. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to highlight that, and I'm going to click link. And I'm going to type in libraries.ne.gov/moral. And I'm going to say add that link. And notice no code necessary. I click update. Wait for that to publish. Go back to my actual website. Click on participating libraries. And what we should see here is now my link to Moral Public Library. Okay. So pages are static content that you might need to update kind of on a either never or a semi-regular basis or rarely. Whereas blog posts are, hey, here's the latest information about something. Okay. Did you leave your comment there? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go back to my dashboard to show you what happens here. Now, a couple of things is going to happen now that Krista has left a comment. Number one is I've set it up so that I will get an email saying somebody has left a comment, because I might not go in here to check every day. Okay. But as you also notice here over here on the left, comments, it says there's one comment waiting.
Yeah, and when I posted it, it actually popped up and told me on my screen here, I can see what my comment was, and it says above it, your comment is awaiting moderation.
Yep. So in this case, we have moderation turned on, which I am not opposed to. Okay. You know, if you want to moderate, that's fine. Some libraries have just said, you know what, anything, it just automatically goes up. We have moderation turned on, so I'm going to go ahead and click on comment here. You'll see that I have one comment waiting for me. And it says, congrats, what a great service for public libraries. If I just hover over this, I can now do a couple of things. I can approve it. I can reply to it. I can edit it. We talk about this in the training video. There's quick edit and edit. We won't get into there. I can see the history of comments that Krista has posted. I can mark it as spam, or I can just delete it. So if I think Krista's been writing spammy stuff, I can say, hey, this is spam. And from this point forward, it will say, hey, anything from Krista must be spam. It's pretty darn smart. Okay. On a side note, we've also put in a spam filter called a Kismet, and it will catch a lot of spam automatically. This one is basically saying, I don't think it's spam, but since you have moderation turned on, I still need you to approve it. Okay. So let me real quick here, I'm going to go back to my website, kind of show you how this is going to work here. Click on home. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to the page for this post. Each post also gets its own separate URL. And you'll notice here there are no comments. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here and I'm going to approve Krista's comment. And it will say, hey, and by the way, I can now unapprove it if I want.
You can take it away.
I can take it away. Oops. I didn't really like what she had to say. And now back on my website, sorry, find the refresh button here. I'm going to refresh, and we will now see there is our one response from Krista.
Yay.
Okay. So one of the benefits to using something like WordPress is this ability to comment, this ability to get into a discussion with your readers about things, okay? About what you're saying. Now, I want to stress here real quick that don't expect to be getting like lots of comments the first week your website is up. And in fact, in the long run, you may not get a lot of comments. The key, ultimately, I think, in this is to give your patrons the ability to comment. They choose not to. Your website isn't a failure. They just maybe aren't a very talkative bunch.
And you can mix it up with blog posts, too, that as we were talking earlier about things that are basically announcement-type posts, a new staff, a service, new books, whatever. But you could post something that is more conversational to begin with.
Hey, our budget's being cut.
What do you think?
What do you think?
Or we're thinking of starting a new adult reader book club. Is anyone interested in it? Comment here and let us know. Would you want to participate? What kind of books would you think should be on it? Or it could be a way of running your book club. What books do you guys want for next month?
Yep.
And so put in, mix up some of your announcement posts with things that actually ask a question. Don't be upset if nobody answers your question. They missed, like Michael said, you might not have talkative people that want to do that, but you can just keep doing it and nudging them, and eventually some people will say, oh, I'm supposed to say something, cool.
Yeah.
But, you can mix it up. It doesn't have to be just announcements. That's what's great about this. You can have a mixture of those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so there's comments, there's that. Okay, let me talk about a couple other things here, kind of maybe like consider advanced. We've already talked about themes, but real quick, first thing I want to do here is I'm going to actually go to a different site. I'm going to work on a different site here because I don't want to actually do this to the actual website of the project. I've got some kind of temporary sites set up here. So give me 1 sec to find what I'm looking for. Okay, here is I have a site called Video Training, and this is the site I use to create all the training videos. Okay, so I can completely mess it up, and I don't care. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to work on that one for a moment. And just to show you what it looks like at the moment, it looks like this. Okay, and this is the default template that you're going to get. This is what your site's going to look like when I first set you up. Okay? So we talked about themes, and so I'm going to go ahead back into the back end and click on Appearance. And it's currently telling me that I am using the 2010 theme. And then right now there are 3 pages of available themes. Okay? These are the ones that have been installed into our copy of WordPress. Okay? Chances are, if they are listed here, that means another participating library is already using it. So you might not want to use any of these. Okay, we're not saying you can't, but I would make sure that you're not using the same one as the next town over.
Door, yeah.
Maybe find somebody where your patrons are not going to go to the other end of the state or something like that. What you would do, and one of the things I do is I point you to the themes directory, the big giant directory of a couple thousand. You find them there. I install them into this screen, and then you can use them. Okay? Yeah. But let me just show you how easy this is. Let's say I'm going to scroll down a bit here, and you know what? I like this one called Azul. Literally all I have to do is click Activate, wait a couple of seconds, and it says, you are now using the Azul theme. And if I go back over to our website and I click refresh, watch what happens. Ta-da, I'm now using the Azul theme. I mean, it's literally that simple. Okay? Now, not every theme does exactly what you want it to do. For example, this theme, I don't think you can customize the graphic at the top.
Now, when you look at these themes in the big directory, when you're trying to pick and see from the thousands that are available, will it tell you in there what you can and can't do with a theme?
Yes. It will tell you, for example, customizable header, customizable colors, number of sidebars available, that sort of thing. And then what you do is once you say, I kind of like that one, then what you can do is you can go in, and some of them will have an extra settings choice. This one, not very customizable. Okay? This one here, for example, Afalupa, I'm not sure. This one is so customizable it's scary. Okay, I've played with it, and it's got almost an infinite number of choices.
So now that's the thing too. That you just said earlier that all of these themes, the reason they've been put into our installation is because a library in our project said, I'd like to use this theme.
Yes.
So that's why it's here.
Right.
However, if they are using it and have customized it, it might not look like it does here anymore, and then you can also customize it to make yours still use the same theme, but customize it to make it look different from someone else's.
Right.
So it's not a completely don't use it. It's find one that's customizable, tweak it to your colors, your pictures, your sidebars, and then you can still,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for example, if I go real quick to Panhandle, this is one where we actually found on Flickr and got permission from the photographer to use this photograph across the top. Cool. Now, if you look at our installed themes, however, you won't see that one here. It's actually, excuse my scrolling, it's actually this one, floral relief, floral relief, okay? But we've customized the graphic up at the top. So this big giant flower, but see this kind of textured tan sort of color? That's this down here.
They liked that part, but they wanted their own picture, so they took that. Nice.
Yeah.
So think creatively when you're looking at those themes that
yes.
you might be able to do something like this to it.
Yeah, lots and lots of options. I mean, that's really the one thing I can't stress enough. Then, okay, the next stage is what's called widgets. And widgets are what are in your sidebars. Okay. So, for example, if you see this one, I have a calendar, I have my links to pages, I have categories, and I have archives. But what I can actually do is I can actually customize that so that I have, and this is not as too so loud, but what I want is actually I want a Google Translator because I got people who might want to read this in Spanish. And so the base language is going to be in English, so let's do that. By the way, I'm just kind of running through some stuff here, and yes, I still want that calendar.
This is the quickie version.
Oh, this is. Yeah.
Don't panic and try and learn and figure this out right now. Go and watch
videos.
And
the font resizer, and then whoops, I just deleted the font resizer, and I want the archives. So I'm dragging and dropping here, and I'm going to close all that up. So I've now customized my sidebar. Now, if I refresh this, you will see the content of my sidebar will have completely changed. Okay, so there's lots of things you can do here. Some of the websites I showed had the local weather.
Yeah, I saw
that's a widget.
Earlier.
So let's see if I scroll down here. Yeah, Google Weather. So I'm going to drag that all the way up to the top here. There. And then I need to figure out where we are. And display forecast. And I'm going to center that and click save. And then we go back here. And lo and behold, we should get the Lincoln weather.
56 degrees out right now.
And notice it's called example because I really should have renamed it like Lincoln weather.
Yeah.
But so you kind of get the idea. This is, I mean, quick and dirty does not begin to describe what I just did there, but it's even in customizing the widgets, it's drag and drop. There's really not a lot of work other than, do I want this here? And if you had a sidebar on the left and right, there would be two columns on that screen, and it would probably say, you know, under here is the left sidebar, and under here is the right sidebar, or sidebar 1 and sidebar 2. Or I've seen some themes that have like 6 sections under widgets, because there's some stuff you can put at the top, and spaces at the bottom, and spaces on the left, and spaces on the right. And I don't know what any of you are thinking right now, but I want to stress that yes, there's a learning curve, but it's not. You're not going to get the best impression by me just running through all this really quick as to how easy it really is. Yes, there will be a whole bunch of work on the front end, but once your website is kind of set up and ongoing, it's really not going to be a lot of work in the long run. Okay? You're not writing code. You're just writing content. You want to change something, it's point and click, drag and drop. I mean, it really is once you get the hang of it. A few of the other things that we can that I need to talk about here. There are things called plugins. Plugins are a way to add additional features to WordPress. Okay. For example, you're going to have a contact form and you're going to have a calendar. Those are plugins. Those do not come with WordPress. I've installed them separately. Think about like a browser plugin. Well, these are WordPress plugins. We can, in many cases, install plugins on request. Okay. This is the one thing I want to stress. Now, first of all, I want to make sure you're comfortable with WordPress, your site's up and running, maybe it's been going for a month or two, but then you can come back to me and say, hey, it would be great if our website did X. Okay? And this first one here that says Events Manager Extended, that's exactly what happened. It's one of the systems, and I can't remember which one. Anyways, sorry, I apologize. It's one of the systems came back to me and said, hey, we host events, and we want people to be able to register for these events on our website. Is there something that will do that? And I found a plugin that does that, and I installed it for them, and they now use it. That Google Translate. Somebody wanted a way to be able to translate the website on the fly. Sometimes plugins work really well, sometimes not so well. So there will be a testing process involved. Okay? So once you really get into this, if there's something you want your website to do that it doesn't do, talk to me. I might be able to find something that'll do it for you. The spam filter we've installed is also a plugin. You can install plugins that do quote of the day. I mean, there's just endless possibilities. And even if you want, there's a plugins directory, and you can go look and just see what are available.
Now, is that the same with the theme? Like, if they see one, then you've got to put
yes,
it in here
I first have to install it.
Let Michael know that I found a cool plugin that I'd like to use. Can you install it?
And I have said no in a couple of cases, but generally when I say no, it's because the plugin is either unreliable or won't work with our version of WordPress, or, I'm not saying no because I don't like your idea. I want to stress that. Yeah, I'm saying no because it's a technical issue.
Yeah, I was going to say that sometimes things don't work nicely with ours, or with certain themes. Maybe it doesn't.
There's all sorts of quirks, and these are the quirks. We'll never actually work all of them out. It's just we have to investigate and try. The other thing I do want to talk about, actually, two more things. One here is users. When I first set up your website, and I will assume you're the director who's talking to me about setting up your website, I will set up an account for you, and you will be the site's administrator. Once you're the site's administrator, you can then create additional accounts for your staff as needed. Okay? And I would suggest that even if you have just one other person, you both have separate accounts. Okay? There's a couple of reasons you want to do this. The simplest reason is, let's say it's you and you have two staff people, and you want everybody to be able to post to the blog or edit the website. Okay? By each person having their own username and login, then you know who did what. So we'll say posted by Michael, posted by Krista, posted by Emily, posted by whatever, because we all have our own accounts. Okay. The other issue is you can give people different levels of rights to the website. So, for example, the director might be the administrator, but the assistant might be an editor. The editor can write posts, write content, edit content, but can't change the theme. Or maybe then some of your part-time staff can be authors, where they can write content, but they can't edit anybody else's content. And then you can even set it up so that somebody can contribute, which means they can write content, but then it needs to be approved by an editor before it actually shows up on the website. You can. So I realize many of the people I'm talking to right now don't have more than 2 or 3 staff.
And that's kind of what this is geared towards, is a small
right. I mean, you could make everybody on staff an administrator and give everybody full control over the website.
But it's nice if you do have staff, like you've got someone who runs all your children's programs, you can give them the control to always post when they want to about their new stuff.
Right. But they don't need to be able to change the theme.
Right.
They don't need to be able to delete other people's content, things like that. So you can create what are called roles under your user's account, user accounts, to give people different levels of permission within the site.
So if you are the director or you're the only person at the library, but you've got maybe some part-time staff or maybe volunteers who help you.
Board member?
Board member, yeah, sure. Anyone who's willing to help you. You don't have to be the only one.
Right.
Updating the site and changing it. Get a team of people who could volunteer to help you with doing different things to it, and then you're not overwhelmed by doing it all by yourself.
Exactly.
We do have one comment on
yes.
Thing that when you asked, I don't know what you guys were thinking. Well, Nicole Lawless, who's from Madison Public Library, is she one of the libraries?
I don't believe so.
Yeah. Said that since you kind of asked, I'm thinking that this is an awesome service that the NLC is offering for all of our small rural libraries.
Yes, thank you. I mean, this has been my life for about a year now, and if this is successful, it will be my life for quite a while. So I know what I'm walking into.
And I see Linda Butcher. I see you've got your hand up. You have I'm gonna see. Do you have a microphone? Yep, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi, Linda.
Hi. Is there any kind of email accounts that might be accessible to libraries also?
No, we are not supplying email accounts. That is something. I mean, I would just recommend that if you don't have email, sign up with like Gmail. And what the contact form will do is basically allow a reader to send you an email without by filling in a form as opposed to going to an email program and sending it in. We are not supplying email addresses.
And then that form, though, would use whatever email address you put in there. So when you have the contact info behind the scenes, it will tell WordPress where to send that message to whatever email account you have.
Correct. Yep. Thank you for that question. All right, let me, and if you got more questions, please, oh, is there another question?
No, that's
okay.
it. Nope,
if there are more questions, send them in. I'm going to just talk about a little bit, in a little more detail, about what we do here at the Commission for you. Okay? Basically, we set up your account, your main account, so whoever, the administrator's account. If you want to add any additional accounts, that's completely up to you. I mean, that's something you will have the ability to do. I mostly install themes and plugins on request and do testing for that. We run all the updates. So as you can see here in this yellow bar, we have an update to run. So you don't have to worry about keeping the software up to date and plugging security holes and all that fun stuff. We take care of that here. It is on our servers. We run backups. We run weekly backups on the server and nightly backups on your content. Now, so far, we have not had to yet restore any of those backups.
And we didn't have a problem with one time? Or that's something different?
No, that was a different problem. So, so far, we run backups. Hopefully, we'll never need them. But they literally get emailed to me nightly. So, worst case scenario, you might lose a day's work. Let's see, what else do we do? I'm the technical support, although I would like to know that you've watched the training video before you ask me a question, because chances are I've covered it in the training video. That's kind of the point. And what else do we do? I mean,
hand-holding.
Hand-holding, yes.
It's okay. We can fix this.
Oh, please. And in fact, I have a list of things on my whiteboard in my office of kind of, hey, wouldn't it be neat if it could do this? And so some of those have been kind of put to the side temporarily because we were trying to get the project up and running. We've gotten some weird quirks, like I was just talking to Jessica from one of the systems. She called me one day and she said, Northeast, thank you. She said, hey, the link button doesn't work in the editor. Worked for me. Didn't work for her. I passed her in the stairwell this morning and I said, hey, how does that link button still busted? She's like, no, it works now. And I went, okay. So sometimes I can't solve the problem. I don't know what it is. So yeah, we're here to support you and get you up and running and working with it. You ask to sign up. You fill in your content. You ask questions as necessary. I try to encourage you to ask questions on the actual project site. We do have some questions. We do have some questions. Okay, we'll finish this slide here. So, for example, if we go to online training, and let's say you do have a question about widgets. Yes, you can send me an email, but what I would love to see you do is actually to leave a comment on the widgets page. That way, there's your question. I can post an answer, and everybody else can read it.
Ah, yes.
I have created.
Other people may have the same question you have.
Exactly.
And just didn't have the initiative to go and post it.
Yes,
there.
I want this to be a community of our users. I had another thought, but I've completely lost it. So why don't we go to a question? It looks like a long one.
Yeah, well, there's a couple different ones.
Okay.
Let's see what we got here. Gail Irwin from Ainsworth Public Library wants to know, can you add links such as to Nebraska Access?
Yes, that's one of the things I didn't necessarily cover. In your pages and your posts, you can always link to whatever you want.
Is there someone's page that we can see?
Yeah, let me go to a participating library here. And we do actually supply like a page called Nebraska Resources, which is really, really short. But let me go to Northeast here real quick. There's also a way let's see if they've done it. See, they've embedded Facebook, they've embedded other things, they've embedded categories, and they don't have what I'm looking for. Okay. Panhandle, I think they've done it. Yeah, I don't remember what everybody's done on their sites here.
Well, they can keep changing it on YouTube because they can modify it as
and they don't have it either.
Somebody please link
somebody
to
have a local news? No? Okay, fine. Be that way. I'll use this example here, WordPress resources. Okay, this is a list of links that I have pre-programmed in that will show up on every page as a widget. So the simple answer to your question is yes. That's one of the few training videos I've not yet actually created. Did you find one?
Done a blog roll.
Okay, that's the same thing. They've just called it blog roll. Yeah, okay, Alliance.
Top of the list.
Thank you. It's nice to have two computers here every once in a while. Okay, so they've called it blog roll, and notice they've linked to City of Alliance, Facebook, Library Thing, Nebraska Access, Online Catalog, and Overdrive. So I would encourage you to set up something like that. You don't have to call it blog roll. You can call it links. Another one has done it. Yeah, and Nebraska Resources is a page. Arthur has that. Excuse me, sorry, Arthur. And for Nebraska Resources, it's also right here. So this is kind of just a brief list. We'll pre-populate into your site, and you can customize that. And Arthur is one of the ones that got a local photographer to add, and so she's got 4 different ones. And so there was like a winter one, and she's like on the spring one, and in fact that might have snow on it. I can't tell from here. She might not have changed from winter yet. But anyways, so she's not changing her whole theme. She's just changing her banner at the top. So yeah. Okay, so that was that question. Yes. Long answer. The simple answer is yes. Yes.
Okay. Nicole Lawless from Madison again has a series of questions.
Okay.
For libraries that already have their own website, not her, but she's curious, can they tie that web address to this service?
Oh, very good question. Okay. Let's say you already have a website that you want to replace with one of these, okay, which a couple libraries have done. Okay, we cannot reuse your old URL. Okay. You are going to no, I didn't say that. Okay, I didn't say that. You will get a URL that is libraries.ne.gov/name of town or library. Okay, we cannot make the WordPress version of your website show up at your old URL. However, I can work with you to make it so that if somebody types in your old URL, they get to the new one.
It will pump them.
Yeah, either through, they might have to click a link, we might have to work with your ISP, but we can forward the old URL to the new URL, but we cannot have the WordPress new website show up at the old URL.
But it does the same purpose.
Yes. You know, we've had 1 or 2 situations where we've bought like library.org or, you know, joeschmolibrary.org. Can we have this website show up at joeschmolibrary.org? The answer
or it's
is
part
no.
of the town's entire web presence.
Well, then they don't care as much usually. Well, I mean, they don't want to keep the town's URL. They want their, you know.
Well, no, what I'm saying is the town says we have a web presence for the town.
Yes.
All town services will be on our website with our URL.
Well, yeah, then it's.
However,
the
then the library, the library
Yeah,
can talk and say that's cool, but it's going to port out, it's going to pump people out to this site because look, it's way cool.
Yeah. So if you're in that situation, I can talk to you, I can help you out, but the simple answer is no. Because of our setup, you get what you pay for. We're not, all of this is free. We're not charging anything. The software is free. All that. We cannot use your URL. You are going to get a new one.
Yeah. What about a mobile interface? Does WordPress have a mobile access type thing? Or is there a way to do that?
WordPress in and of itself is generally mobile friendly. Okay. That being said, I have been starting to look at some plugins that will actually create a mobile version of your site.
Yeah, okay.
But nobody has yet requested that, so I've only kind of looked at them. If that is something you are very specifically interested in, I'm sure we can accomplish it. But again, I would stress, get your site running, get very comfortable with it, then bring that to me and we can talk and figure something out. And in some cases, for example, the plugin for the event manager, I didn't announce that to everybody because that was very high-end, very something they specifically wanted to do X. Some things though, like Google Translate, I posted on the blog that says, "Hey, we've got this plugin now. If you want to use it." Weather was a popular one. One person asked for that. I put it up, and now like half the sites use it.
Someone else thinks of it, you don't.
Yeah.
The Translate one, we've got lots of areas in Nebraska where people speak multiple languages, so I'm sure a lot of libraries may jump on that too, not even having
that
thought
still
about
has its own issues, but it's again, I can work with you.
Okay. Third question from Nicole: can the web page can it be set so that the blog is not the primary web page that comes up?
Oh boy. The simple answer is yes. The complicated answer is we ask that you don't do that. Part of the point of this project is to get you blogging.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I'm not going to.
We don't want it to become a static website with nothing new appearing when people first come to it.
The problem is the moment you set a static homepage, you can easily forget to update the blog.
Because it's done, it's there.
But talk to me. I'm not going to say, no, you're not allowed, because I can't turn that feature off. It's in there. You can do it. But I would please ask you to talk to me about it first, and let's have a conversation.
Yeah, how are you planning on using it? What is your thought process? It might actually be what you're thinking about may work in. Yeah,
talk me into it.
Yeah. The last thing Nicole has on, I'm not sure what she means. She just wrote plugin themes, etc. I'm not sure what you meant by that last thing there, Nicole. We'll see if she clarifies.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is just stressing again that I'm here to, like, okay, for example, with themes, to show that this is, I'm not running your website. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you ask me for my opinion as to what I think of a particular theme, I will give you an honest opinion. However, I will not, even if I think it is the most ugly theme in the world, and I tell you that, I will not stop you from using it. It is your website. Mm-hmm. I'm here to make sure that it works, along with Diane. I have to mention Diane here. Diane is on our computer team. She's the one who actually runs the hardware for all this. She does the updates. She puts in a lot of work, and I want to thank Diane. She's kind of behind the scenes on all this, but she puts in just as much work as I do on this. But we're here to make sure your site is running, to make sure it functions, and to make sure it more or less does what you need it to do. That's where the plugins and stuff come in. So, if you, I don't police your website. If I notice if I think something's gone horribly wrong, I might send you an email, but ask the participating libraries. Go through this list of participating libraries. Leave them a comment or two. Send them an email and say, hey, do you like the project? I'm sure they will all be happy to
If there's somebody you know who's gotten into it, who's in the project, yeah.
And
somebody you don't know, they're probably willing to.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Especially the systems. If one of your systems, the systems that are using it are Panhandle, Northeast, and RVLS. If you're in one of those systems, contact your system administrator and say, hey. And I think Eastern is also running WordPress, but they're not on our server.
They're doing it themselves.
Yeah, they're doing it themselves. Fine. Hey, that's okay. I think in their case, they had their own URL they wanted to keep. That's why. So they can help you. They have experience with WordPress also. I want everybody to talk to each other, especially since by helping each other, you make my life a little easier. I will say. So, and everybody's lives a little easier.
Networking is always great.
Yes, networking, positive thing. We're going over, but
that's okay. People are still here, so okay. We're not going to stay forever.
Nobody's running away yet?
Yeah, Nicole said she was about the web page preferences, wanting to know about how they come up so that we can have a static site that comes up. But like you said, it's a discussion to have. It's
under the settings for the site. There are so many screens in the back end I didn't show you.
Because you can still have, like, the main site looks static, but there's a link that's your blog that people can then go to.
Yeah, you can do that.
It can, and many pages, websites you see out there, they do. In this case, I think everybody has said the main thing people always see will be our most recent push out of information, our most recent blog post, so that it's always updating. But you've got the sidebars and the pages that have all your static info as well. But it is totally, customize what you want.
Yeah, I think at this point, just because I would discourage you from do that, I'm going to be a little evil and not specifically show you for the recording how to do it. But start a conversation with me. We can talk. It is in there. I'm pretty sure I cover it in the appropriate training video. I just say, please don't do this. Because I can't turn it off. She's laughing. Good. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anybody else have any other questions? We are about 7 minutes over our official hour. Anybody have anything else? You can raise your hand. I can unmute you, or you can type in your question.
I think that was plenty for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we covered a lot. So let me just wrap this up by saying the following. If you are interested in participating, thank you for watching this video. We will probably also put this video up under online training, maybe. I don't know. It's pretty general.
The recording will be up and NCompass Live.
Yes. The recording will be up. It might not actually go on to the Nebraska Libraries on the web. Please go to the online training and at least watch the first video, important URLs and participant expectations. That's going to go in a little more detail about some of the stuff I talked at first. I might have forgotten to mention some expectations, so please watch that. Then go ahead and use the contact form up at the top to send me an email, basically saying, hey, I want to participate. I just basically name, email, I want in, give me a message as to your library. Then I will send you an email back with some questions. There's some information I need to get from you, that sort of thing. And
you make them do math?
Just make sure you're not spamming me. Yeah.
Make sure you're a real human being.
Yeah, I didn't show you the math on this other website that it makes you do to do that. Anyways, it's better than typing in a squiggly word, really. Anyways.
We already have a couple of people who have said in the chat now that they want in.
Okay, yes. Yeah, don't tell me in chat, though. You can send,
no, that's okay. Email. I am telling you
okay,
that.
Well, I wanted them to, I don't want them to think that that was enough.
So go on to the page and do this, both of you guys, anyone who's interested.
And I'm not going to just turn on your website the moment I get an email from you. I will send you an email back. At this point, I'm going to be honest, nobody will get started today. Just my schedule today is
I'll just
really,
say
really
one
wonky,
of the people that did say it said, I will get on and sign up later today. Thank you for all the hard work that went into this. Awesome. I have been going to make my own website, but been going to for way too long now. And now that they've seen this, they're like, oh, great.
Yeah, I'll say, if you think this is a lot of work, try building one from scratch. Been there, done that. I help people around this office who do that. Yeah, it's a lot of work. So even I run my own website on this software, and I could build it from scratch. This just saves so much work.
Yeah. Don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to.
Yep.
That's one of my mottos.
I'll also throw in, if you do have an existing website, whether it's just like a page on the town or something like that, if you could throw that into the email just so I can take a look to kind of know what you're starting with already, that would be great. But those, I mean, I said watch that first video, but start watching all of them. They're up. You don't have to be signed up to watch these videos.
No, this is all open to any one website.
So if you're gung-ho this afternoon, start watching videos, and I'll probably get back to you in the next day or two about actually getting you an account and things like that. So, cool. All right. I'm done. Cool. I will keep talking, but I need to stop now.
He's got all his talking on those videos. So
yes.
More talking. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. It sounds like we got some good interest in this, which is what the whole purpose of this project was, to help you guys get on the web as easily and quickly and simply and painlessly as possible. So thank you very much for attending this week. As I said, it has been recorded, and the recording will be up later today, sometime, maybe tomorrow. We hope you'll join us next Wednesday when we are promoting the 2011 Nebraska Book Festival, which is actually being held on May 21st here in Lincoln. And the theme is Cultivating Creativity. And we will actually, as long as he gets here, Ted Kuzier will be here with us next Wednesday.
Wow.
So, yeah. He is participating in the Nebraska Book Festival, and he has agreed to also participate here in our NCompass Live promoting it next Wednesday. So sign up, join us next week.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Thank you very much for attending, and we will see you next week then.
All right.
Well, I will. He won't be here.
I'll be here in 2 weeks. Right?
Bye-bye.